Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. So I'll spend some time looking through what is happening, the macro data, the earnings, the institutional flow, the analyst revisions after the Q2 print that dropped on August 3rd. And I want to walk you through exactly what I'm seeing right now because this week is coming up with some more complex setups, and I think we need to discuss some of the things that are happening. And there's a lot happening, and I want to make sure you understand all of it before we see Thursday opening. Now, frankly, looking at the market conditions, I think the next few days are going to be a test of whether this momentum can hold. Palantir just had one of its most explosive post-earnings runs we've seen in years. And so the stock surged nearly 40% last week after reporting Q2 numbers, but we are sitting at 174.94 as of Tuesday's close, up only 0.17 on the day, with a pre-market dip to around 171.93. And also we see that the VIX is elevated, yields are still a question mark, and the broader tape has been choppy. So the path of the least resistance near term is consolidation. And I think we test the 170 level early in the week, and if the broader tape stays heavy, we could see a flash towards 165 on a bad day, which honestly wouldn't surprise me given how extended this move has been. Now, the saving grace is that every time this stock has pulled back towards the 170 zone in recent weeks, it has found buyers. The Q2 numbers were genuinely otherworldly, more on that in a second, and the short interest is still elevated enough that any positive catalyst flips the dynamic fast. So my honest view is consolidation first, probably mid as we look into the week, and then we can see stabilization quiet around 170, or we get another macro or AI sector catalyst that triggers a move back towards 185 to 190, but I would not be caught off guard if this week looks choppy before it looks good. Now let me start with August 3rd because August 3rd changed the conversation. Palantir closed around 135 before the print, and then the numbers hit. Q2 2026 revenue came in at 1.94 billion, up 93% year over year, crashing the 1.81 billion consensus estimate. Adjusted EPS was 41 cents compared with the 35 cents analysts were expecting. And before you just look at those numbers and move on, you need to understand what actually drove that beat because it tells you everything about where this business is headed. US revenue increased 115% year over year to 1.573 billion. Within that, US commercial revenue surged 149%. US government revenue grew 90%. And think about that for a second. A company that was long viewed as primarily a defense contractor now has its commercial business growth growing at nearly 150%. And that's a structural shift. The company closed 220 deals worth at least $1 million during the quarter, including 73 deals of at least $10 million. So, total contract value increased 49% year over year to $3.373 billion, while US commercial TCV rose 153% to $2.132 billion. Now, GAAP operating income reached $912 million, representing a 47% margin. So this quarter was otherworldly, as CEO Alex Karp said in the release. Now here's where Palantir setup gets more interesting than just the headline numbers. The company also raised its full year 2026 revenue guidance to $8.15 billion to $8.158 billion. Now for the third quarter, Palantir guided for revenue of approximately $2.16 billion and adjusted operating income of $1.292 billion to $1.296 billion. That's 8% above what analysts were expecting. And Wall Street has been looking for Q3 revenue around $2.0 billion, and management just said, effectively, we are going to do $2.16 billion, and that's a statement. Now, US analysts wrote that Palantir posted an outstanding acceleration in growth, with every key metric exceeding their model, and noted there was zero evidence of increased competition affecting Palantir's results. So, addressing what they described as a key bear case concern, they maintained the buy rating and raised their price target to 220 from 200. Now, let me be straight with you about the valuation, because I think it's critical that you understand what you're buying here. Palantir is trading at around 174.94 with a market cap of about 420 billion. So the PE ratio is roughly 150. Now the 52-week range is 106.37 to 207.52. Year to date, the stock is still down about 29%. That's the context. This is not a cheap stock by traditional metrics, but the growth rate is anything but traditional. Revenue is on track to nearly from 4.48 billion in 2025 to over 8.19 billion in 2026. Now, EPS is projected to grow from 75 cents to $1.60 this year, a 113% increase. So, at roughly 44 times 2027 free cash flow estimates, UBS views the shares as undervalued relative to Palantir's medium-term growth and profitability. Now let me tell you what I'm actually watching in this later part of the week, because the setup heading into Thursday is generally tricky. The stock had a massive run, nearly 40% last week alone, and that kind of move almost always invites profit taking. So the short interest is still around 77.88 million shares, representing about 3.55% of the float, and that's down from previous levels but still significant. So if we get any further positive catalyst, the covering could accelerate, but if the broader tape turns risk off, that same short interest isn't going to save us from a pullback. Now, the key levels I'm watching on the downside, a $170 is the first real line. Below that, $165. If we break $165 on heavy volume, that tells me we need to wait for the $155 to $160 zone before buyers come in with real size. On the upside, I need to see a clean close above $180 to feel like the momentum has generally resumed, and the close about $185 with volume behind it would be the signal that the next leg higher is underway. Now, the analyst community is broadly constructive, and according to 32 analysts polled by S&P Global, Palantir has a consensus rating of buy. Now, the 2 days I've circled on my calendar beyond just the day-to-day price action. The next major catalyst is Q3 earnings, likely early November, and that's the real moment of truth. If Q3 shows US commercial revenue continuing to accelerate above 134%, if the government business holds above 90% growth, and if management raises the full year number again, the stock has a clear path towards 200 and 215, and that would be 15 to 25% from where we closed Tuesday, not including any short squeeze component on top of that. Now, let me also address the one risk that keeps me from being aggressive here, and I want to be honest about it: the valuation at 150 times earnings and 50 times forward revenue. This stock is priced for perfection. Any disappointment on margins, any deceleration in US commercial growth, any macro shock that causes institutional money to rotate out of high multiple growth names, and this stock could give back a significant portion of its recent gains. So the bears will point to the fact that the stock is still down 29% year to date, despite the Q2 beat. So they will point to the insider selling, and also, but that's not necessarily a negative signal found as an exhaustive sell or for all kinds of reasons, but it is something you need to be aware of. For anyone thinking about options this midweek, given where implied volatility is sitting right now, premium is elevated, and that creates income opportunities. If you own shares, selling covered calls in the $190 to $200 strike range for mid to late September collects meaningful premium, while still leaving room for a recovery move. So if you want to add shares but want some margin of safety, selling a cash secured put around 165 gets you exposure, and to get you exposure. And also we see that we have at a cost basis, which is close to the strongest support levels we've seen in post-earnings. So size whichever you do appropriately. This is not the week to just go all in on anything. This is the week to get disciplined. My base for how we close this week is somewhere in the 170 to 180 range, depending almost entirely on what the broader market does with AI narrative and the rate environment. So I'm not expecting so much highs this midweek. I'm not expecting a clean breakout. I think this week, where patience is still the move. And as we see the analysis after the market open. So the fundamental case for this stock has not changed. A company growing revenue 93% year over year. And also in my experience, we see that the stock still has a timing problem right now and not a business problem. Hopefully I'll be back with an update after the market opens. And so drop your questions in the comments, and I read your comments every time you write. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember to put God first in whatever you do. See you then in the next video.